I think that's pretty cool, because I'm not running an antenna. Okay, up next is finalize some of that mess, clean it up just that little bit more, and the interior light wiring is this brown and white one here that I've got to figure out where that all hooks up. That's for the interior dome light and the door switches. Also, my speedometer doesn't work, so I get the feeling that maybe the cable is not attached to the front left drum like it's supposed to be. I'm not putting any of the vent tubing in. This is merely for drainage, but I'm not running vents. My air conditioning is going to be, you know, what do they say? 260, two windows down at 60 miles an hour. So that's all I got. And then I've got a little thing down here with some ratchet straps that I'll be showing you guys a little bit later for buttoning up. I also got some more carpet to put in here, things like that. So, trunk, boot, whatever you call it. The speedometer problem. Never hooked it up. Onto it. So I'm looking at putting this piece in to cover up the wiring mess. It's from Empy. It's cheap. Doesn't quite fit. This stuff here hits where that switch is there. But here's the funny bit. You look on the back side and read that. Okay, I think that's bad. And then you read this. Who would put a wiring dash cover in a race vehicle? Especially one made out of plastic like this. I don't get it. Alright, well, I'm still going to try and stick it in. Replacing those with that, with a little custom touch. And done. Basically painted the whole thing. You wipe everything off. The red paint that's the same as on the rims and everything stays in the grooves. Nice little touch. I like it. Popping in lots of little rubber grommet things. So these are little plastic door hinge oil caps. One down there as well. Also got the hinge covers there. And there, excuse the dirt, this thing needs a good wash. It's been getting a little bit dusty in the garage these days. Now I'm working on wiper nozzle and wiper blades. Not sure which two I'm going to use, so I'm just spray painting them all. And then whichever ones I don't use, I'm just going to sell in a pile of old bug parts. Wipers mounted, looking good. Bought some new blades. And they actually work, which was somewhat shocking. So I'll take that. Alright, time for the trunk reveal here. So you can see what I did with those ratchet straps. Full-size spare. So it will not fit in here, because this is a big boy compared to stock. What is it? It's a 205 65 15. So you see I got that one, which you can barely see, and then that one there. Of course, had to go black and red. I'm overdoing that, but it looks cool. Carpets underneath and in, and that dash cover is holding in place. I've got the most overkill bracket ever right there. Just a little, there's a hole already there. There are lots of them in the firewall from the previous owner. And that giant bolt fit it, and that tab is from the seat belts that I did not need. So yeah, the thing could hold up the car, and it's holding up a piece of plastic. Did a little trimming up here and down there. It is hiding some wires outside of this plastic thing, but so be it. The carpet fits nicely, kind of tucks in and works around things like it's supposed to. And the tire is not sitting on anything I don't like. It's sitting on, and it does close. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just a big fan of full-size spares. My truck out there, full-size spare, 35 1250 underneath the truck bed. This guy here, full-size spare, mounts up on top using that bracket there. And I wanted a full size. So what I did was I went with two different size tires. Right, so these front ones, 175/65 R15. The rears, again, 205s. So I have 3 rears, 2 fronts. Worst case scenario, if the front gets flat, I will stick a large tire up there and hope it doesn't rub too much. But I'd rather have that than a big one and a small one on the back. All right, moving on to the next project. So this bracket here and some junk metal there is going to be a bracket I'm going to make to mount the license plate on that front, what do they call them? Can't even remember. T-bar. All right, so I'm just going to squeeze this a bit and then I'll show you as I make some progress. Forgot to add that I also mounted the jack down there. That's the original color of the bug. It's sort of like a slight green white, green tinted white. I wanted the original jack. It used to go right up in here. You can see my booger welds a little bit. But I couldn't get it to fit there. I don't know why, and so I just removed that. And then, knowing I wasn't going to use the wheel well for anything, it seemed to make sense to put that there. And it is solidly mounted, so I got no concerns about that. That's all good. Now, here is the bracket. Okay, so squeezes over the T-bar, and then I've just got a little screw or bolt with a Phillips head, and then a nut, and I have the mounting holes, more than I need, but that's because the previous owner put extra holes in the license plate, so I'm just going to use them all. Super nice and secure. This thing is solid, moves the bar, does not move, and should work fine, and as you can see, does not stick out. So I'm running with it. I'm going to get the plate on. Well, I think that looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. You can see on the top of the bracket here where my weld was, but remember, I'm a guy who owns a welder. I am not a welder. I'm a grinder. So it is solidly mounted there. Doesn't look hideous and doesn't stick out. Odds are I'll scrape my leg on it every now and again because I'll forget it's there, but so be it. I like it. Onward. Not sure if I already shot video of this, but I extended that hook to grab that tab down there because the existing one did not. It just was hitting, and then the lock didn't work and anything like that. So I just cut it off, welded on a piece from actually old Volkswagen seatbelt brackets. So that worked. Continuing the black and red theme, fire extinguisher. As I've said before, no end of holes from the previous owner. Some really bad boogery ones. So I found a hole that was there, made another one, nice and solid, right by my hand. So if I need to get in and out with the fire extinguisher, I can do it nice and quick. See here, shift, can barely touch. But driving, this is first gear, second, third. Driving, holy crap, fire, boom, pop, go. Every Volkswagen owner should have one of these. I had one in my old 79 van, did not have one in my 73 Bug, and that was probably a mistake. All right, what we have here is the beginnings of a bracket for my tach. I'm having a hard time with a little bit of the tuning, with a high idle, just struggling a little bit, and everything I'm reading basically says you need to be able to know what your RPMs are. So I'm going to install a tach. I've got a nice basic Bosch one here, revs to 8 grand, but it has this kind of bracket for like mounting on top of the steering wheel. I don't want that. What I'm going to do is, I'll show you, keep this shape in mind. That tube will get cut off. I'm going to mount it there. And the idea is this. Those two screws are going to go there and there. I'm going to cut just a teeny bit out of each side so that the screws go through the hole. That washer sort of mounts flush, and the tube comes out this way with the tach on the end of it. It'll keep them clear of both of these, right? Coming out that little bit. I'll be able to get some nuts and a basic plate on the back side of it that'll hold it in place. And I'm going to be able to feed the wire down that tube through that washer. Yes, ugly weld. It's going to grind them down later. So it's a fat beveled washer. I don't know if you can see, it's got a slight curve to it, just this way. And that is at an angle on purpose because I do want it angled slightly towards the driver's side. So it's going to mount in there. See, is it still hot? Yes, it is. Hold on one second. And we're back. So it's going to mount in the dash. Boom. Angled slightly towards me. That hole there is going to weld onto the back lower part of this bracket. The wires will then, see if you can visualize here, something like that. The wire is then going to drop down through a hole in the tube, go through the tube into the dash. So that's the plan. Grumming around the hole, minimal wiring. That tube is going to get cut down to probably about half that size, and hopefully it'll work. If not, I already have the hole in the dash, and I wasn't going to get the brake warning light in there. So worst case scenario, I'll figure something else out. Keep you posted. I'll show you the final product when I'm done. Okay, so here's the quick overview of the bracket. If you look on the side there, this won't be all coiled up, but basically locks in. This is the bracket cut down, ugly booger welds as usual. Piece of thin wall tubing, goes through there, and it'll mount in the dash like that. So I'm pretty happy with it. Overall, it's going to work. I will cut down that rubber. Okay, just to give you a sense of where we are, front right wheel is off, and I have drilled that hole right there, dead middle. And I'm going to run the green wire from the tach to the coil through that. I'll put a grommet in. I'm going to drop the line down from under the gas tank up there where there's the drain line, and then that'll give me easy access to the back of the tachometer from the wiring bird's nest up in the front trunk. And then I'm going to run it through the tunnel. I have a chase wire that I'm going to feed through, and then pull the wire through and meet it partway along the way at the stick shift, and then at the coupler in the back seat area, and just keep working it back that way. And I'm hoping through that process I will have some success at fishing it through. What I should have done, of course, is put this in with the main wiring harness that runs down the firewall by the driver's left knee, along underneath the heater channel carpet area, under the back seat that way. I didn't think about putting a tachometer in until after I was having some trouble tuning the engine. So that's the plan. It should work, and it'll keep the the wire out of the elements. So I'm feeding that wire down through the drain tube there, plenty of extra wire. And you can see I've already fished through the steel wire there, and I've attached it down there to the green wire. And now I'm pulling it through. And if you look down in the drain hole, you can see the wire there that I'm going to then pull through, and then I'm going to feed that wire down farther and just keep it going. Bring you back in a minute. Well, it was a pain in the butt and I needed help from my son, but we did get the wire fished through, and it is now dangling out the back so I can hook it up to the coil. I'm going to button everything back up in here and then start putting the tack on the dash and wiring it up. Okay, from the driver's view, there's the tack. It angles a little bit more down than I want, so I'm a little bothered by that. It's a snug fit back there. Let me show you. So you can see the wire going through the tubing in the bracket and all that. It does mount. It is solid and steady, and just from driving, I'll be able to look over and see quite easily the numbers. I just can't see all the little tick marks. That's fine. Figure out where I want my shift point to be, adjust that, and it'll still serve me well. So this may be bracket 1.0, and I'll take it off and do it again differently some other time. Probably not anytime soon though, because I'm ready to just get out and start revving this thing up. So we'll call that good for now. I now have to go into the boot and do some wiring. Alright, so this is the kill switch, battery kill switch. Boom. Mounts there. This is the kick panel that goes in front of the battery tray. I have the battery cables, so I'm going to have the ground run to this, and then this to the chassis. And so cutting that is by basically pulling the ground strap on the battery. So should work out well. I did not plan on it being black and red, but it works out. Alright, finished with the battery upgrades. New connector, new 0 gauge wire running out that way. You'll notice no grommet, but what I have is about 5 inches of fuel hose, like 5/8 inch side diameter, something like that. And cut it, zip tied it on so that if there's any vibration, it's not rubbing on the wires. Nothing's going to short out. New heat shrink connector there. And for the hot line, let's see, from here it goes to one side of the cutoff, and then from the other side back there for the grounding. Now if you notice right now, no key, no power, even with the door open. So you take the key in, turn, now we have power. So I am doing a ground interrupt. Some people do hot or power. I'm not into that. I think that's more for racing. This is just, I don't want somebody to be able to start it, and I don't want the battery to drain while I'm not using it. I have a cutoff switch in my Jeep as well, because they just don't get driven that much. So all in all, I am pleased with how this all came out. Just upgraded, less corrosion, a little bit more security and safety. Everything's good. So on to the next project. This next tweak might be a little controversial, but I dig it. Brake pedal, clutch pedal. Found these on eBay for 20 bucks. Good deal. Larger than the original. And these were kind of, I don't know, a little bald, a little old, but I dig it. That's it for this episode. Up next, I'm gonna try to learn something new. Those of you that perhaps recognize. That's alright. I'm going to try to learn how to pinstripe. At least some basics. Have some fun. Try to take the matte black, do a little bit with it, make it look pretty good. So my efforts on that will be in the next episode, along with perhaps some carb tuning and a few other things. And then after that, I think we're going to be done for a while. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, I appreciate your patience and your support. It takes me a while to get through some of these things. Sometimes it's motivation, sometimes it's just kids and job and all those other things. So, have a good one. Enjoy your own cars. Keep working on your own bugs if you got them. Bye.